Hey, hey, hey! Good afternoon, everybody. Back to another wisdom and ancient text discussion. What do they call it? The chuckleheads? Who said that? Who brought the nasty kind? Oh, Robert Walker. Yeah, you can expect that from him. Yeah. So how y'all doing today? How are we making it?
Better.
We're good.
Because I didn't
Yeah.
at all. It's made off Facebook.
Oh, I'm actually good. I cannot do so much on Facebook, so actually it's actually not so bad. You don't react. You learn to
Yeah.
be just watch. And
Yeah.
it's a good test.
Yeah, because they're doing something with our energy. Because if I watch too much news or read too many, I'm just like, ugh, like I feel sick and weak and freaking out. Yeah. And then when I ignore it, I love the world. So that's how.
Well, and that's a good example of what Beaufont's always talking about, right? He's always talking about they just want your energy. It's not about whether you're fighting it or you're with it or this side or that side. Because a lot of times we'll see the left and the right, not in terms of politics, but left and right, any discussion. And then we're like, no, but we're in the middle. We're not on either side. We're just saying the things that both sides aren't saying in conjunction. And still, to a degree, they enjoy that because they have your time, they have your attention, your genius, energy. And sometimes you just gotta
take all your inspiration out.
Yes.
They don't care if you've been asleep for 80 years or if you've been awake for 80 years. If you're giving them your energy, that's all they want.
Yes. Yeah. So that's why I really want to detach from it. Actually.
Yeah, I can't do it no more. It literally, like, first it makes me like freaking out and I can't calm, and then I don't feel like doing anything.
Yeah, me too.
Right.
But I don't get the inspiration. I used to be full of inspiration for everything. No, not one moment boring, and now I get so easily bored. So I mean, and that is not me. It's absolutely not me. Give me the land and let me do, and I will not be 1 minute bored. Not 1 minute. Really, yeah.
And when we start to break away, after a while, we are always surprised at how much energy and focus and ability to concentrate and be present that we have when we start to break away.
Yeah.
It shows up in our life in a big way. All you have to do is detach.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I had thought
Yoshabel's talking about dance in the comments. You have to, and not physically dance, but spiritually, energetically, consciously, always enjoy where you're at. Enjoy where you're at. Enjoy what's going on. Doesn't mean you have to like it. Whatever's happening, I think, is perfect.
However, creativity expresses itself in your life.
Right.
Yeah.
I dance all the time.
Yeah, I had a nice experience. I was walking and it was like it had a lot rained and everything was like the river was lushy and it was like talking to me, and I just had so much poems I could write. I have like for every a poem for the wind, for the water, for the light and the fire. It just came out of me and I said, oh, I like poems. So it was amazing.
Nice.
Yeah. But I'm just doing for myself because
this internet shit has become shit.
It's what?
It really has. I said this internet shit has become shit.
Has it become it, or has it always been? And now it's just like warming up, and it's it's a sunny day, and it got rained on, and it's just like really starting to get nasty. It probably always has been. I mean, I think they created this.
I think we grew out of it, pretty much.
It amplifies whatever we are. If we are, if we have a critical eye on ourselves, then it doesn't really hold us. We come in, we say something, we interact with people, we say no to 90% of it, and interact with what really truly does resonate with us, with those people that are in the same space as we are. And then I'm done. I'm going for a walk. I'm going to go in my garden. I'm going to sit down and write that poem that's been on my mind since breakfast this morning. I'm going to go write in my journal. I'm going to go meditate. I'm going to go paint, whatever it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if you're not there, then you're going to just scroll for hours and hours and hours because you're not there.
That's what it's become for me. Is what you're saying, what Christ is saying is that, I tap in and I tap out anymore. Like for me, it's like I tap in and I get what I need. Reconfirmation, with like a spiritual family that, this is okay. Like everything is fine. We're seeing the drama unfold. It seems crazy. It's not. And then I tap out. It's like, okay, I got it. Yep. I'm not insane. The world is insane. These people are nuts.
Yeah.
I've reconfirmed with the energies I need to, and then I get on with my day.
Yeah, but I disagree. Things are freaking crazy.
Yeah.
He said it's not crazy.
And they're supposed
in a nut house.
Yeah.
It's like being the only person sane in a nut house, and you got to be like, I'll take my medicine.
Yeah. It's medication time.
Yeah. Spit it out.
What's funny to me is what Elaine just said, which is MySpace was cool. I don't know if you guys remember MySpace, but
I didn't know
MySpace wasn't this way. It wasn't insane.
Was it internet or was it television? Or
it was social media.
Yeah, I mean, imagine this. It was basically.
It was before our time.
Actually, I'm in total only 2 years very active on Facebook. Before not, so I feel the difference.
Yeah.
So what MySpace was, imagine Facebook with just an open blank page, your picture, a description, and you could do anything else. And so you could have videos, streaming, you could have music videos, you could have pictures, you could do anything you want. Like they didn't care. Like there was no censorship, no monitoring, and it was fun. You make your friends and you go have communities and groups and you do your thing. It was freedom. And there was no drama. There was no stress, and no one really cared. At the end, you were an adult. You had your own page. You went away. Now they're trying to create these controlled platforms where they want to be news and authorities and dictate what's true and fact checking, and that's fine. I mean, they have the right to do that. But I think what's going to happen, like with the Parler and everything else, is people are going to start to decentralize, which is a good thing. We do. Centralized to platforms that embrace the things that humans want more. And most humans, how we can see now, when you have more freedom, you're less stressed. And whether that's the physical world, the energetic world, or even the online world, when you're not as stressed and you have that freedom, it's not such a bad thing.
Right.
Okay, but let's do wisdom tonight and not the bullshit world.
There we go.
I'm done.
And these, anything goes. Anything goes. I've been doing my homework.
You did the
my homework. What? I just did a little bit. Little prep. I mean, I'm a teacher. I prep for class, So
I'll be honest. I did my homework. I don't understand it. I did my homework. I've been doing the Hermetica, and it's just it's so deep. I just keep going back and keep going back and keep going back. There's just so much there, and I'm stuck between part 2 and 5, and I keep going back and just rereading like the explanation of like the world and creation. And it's interesting, and it's in that discussion format, but a lot's happening in a very short space of time. So I'm still processing.
Yeah, I have another book, The Creation of the written by my guru. How the universe is created. It's amazing. I don't understand it either, but it's maybe for another time we can read a chapter of it. But it's amazing.
Cool. I was looking at first, second, and third chapters in the Hermetica this morning. So Gerard, that's perfect. I mean, that was the section that I think you were.
I don't have that book,
so.
But
this one for Hermetica, yeah,
but it's a lot. I mean,
I got it on Thrift Books. I got this on Thrift Books.
Yeah, so. I can do it. But doesn't it have a lot of correlation with initiation? I mean,
a lot of the exact same things. Yes, definitely. Yeah.
And the Bible and the Emerald Tablets. Yeah.
what I've been doing, I was gonna say this
Yeah.
person who changed their name, so everybody's got different names now. I'm not even sure what to call anybody anymore. But so smoked weed before, I guess psychedelics. So you know what I've been doing? I've been actually meditating over the audio. So like I'll just kind of go into my space. I actually have a blindfold that I wear to like block out all the light. I get in my zone, do a little bit of yoga first, and I focus on what is being said, and it literally it kind of takes you into the text, and it's different than reading, because you're kind of going with the voice that's reading it. But if you've got a good reader like Jonathan, like you've got a person like who's really into what they're reading, it takes you into that world, and it's amazing. To me, it's not as good as reading, but it's different. It's not as bad as like a movie or watching something. It's like totally their imagination.
Yes,
but it's interesting. It's interesting. It allows you to focus more on what's being said.
Yeah, I want to follow up on what Christ just said. The Hermetica came so naturally to me. It's like I was remembering it instead of learning it.
Learning it, yeah.
Plato says all learning is remembering. All learning is remembering, because we already have that within us. Everything we need.
Innate, it's innate. We just have to.
There's something very oddly familiar about it, though. I'll chime in on that as well. Like there is something when you're reading something. Some things are like difficult, like as brain food to chew up and swallow. It's easier to chew this one up, the Hermetic, swallow. It's like we're revisiting, or it's what we already know, and it's kind of confirming some things that we already know.
Yeah.
Well, and in the Emerald Tablets, it says that. I think it's the Emerald Tablets, the Hermetica. I don't know, because I was listening to Emerald Tablets earlier, but so all kinds of synchronicities have been popping out since we started this. So when I read it before years ago, it didn't really click. It was kind of like whatever. And then when I read it later, it was like, oh my God, now I know everything. Now I know.
You think you know everything, but when you read it the third time, you discover so much more. It's always like your understanding goes deeper when you
but it didn't resonate, and then it was like whoa, and then the second, like you said, I've read it like 3 times now, so it was like every time was like oh my God, but and he specifically says that it'll be hidden until those who are ready to receive it find it. So even if you read it but you're not ready, I don't think it resonates. You know what I mean? It's just another book. I
think that's how they hide things. It's like the scriptures where they use parables, right? Everything isn't for everybody, and certainly not all the time. And then you can
and they have to
you can relate that to the Sphinx, the pyramids, certain sites, what they call the stargates. That there are things that darkness will never find. There are things that when you're not ready, or even darkness, whatever at that point in time, you'll read it and you won't get it. The right souls will, the right energy will. You'll open the Sphinx, you'll go behind the ear, you'll go under the paw, and you won't be able to resonate with the frequency of what is right there in front of you, because it's not for you. It's not your food.
Yeah. And this.
Right.
Should
I read something or
jump into it?
We good? Okay, so here's the first part. So this is the prophecies of Hermes. In this chapter, Hermes describes the nature of pure philosophy, but laments that in future generations it will become but lost. This part, for those of you that follow Graham Hancock, you will recognize this part of it, because one of a very famous video clip that's out there that I've seen. Susan's posted it multiple times. I've posted it a couple of times. It's out there. It's about the prophecy that Thoth made, that we would enter a time of pure darkness. And that's what he's talking about here. The philosophy that Hermes teaches is not just a clever intellectual exercise. It is about focusing the mind in deep meditation on Autum, the ancient Egyptian name for God. Such pure philosophy is about rising above mere opinions to experience directly, firsthand, the mind of the universe. Using the God-given gift of our own minds, our own little minds, we can come to know the big mind that creates and maintains the cosmos in beautiful order. For Hermes, spiritual philosophy is not opposed to science, as it often is for us today. The student of spiritual philosophy studies science as a form of devotion to God. Through understanding the secrets of the natural world, he is overcome with a sense of awe and reverence for the Creator. He appreciates the divine order of the universe as if he were listening to a grand symphony in which every melody has been exquisitely combined to compose one magnificent harmony.
I
Hermes,
love how...
Isn't that beautiful?
Yes, I love how all these books like call it music.
Yes.
And that is also the ultimate goal of meditation, to have the direct connection, and how deeper you can go, and how centered you are, and how deeper you can go. You have that. You have that communication.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the goal. I mean, that's for me actually the goal.
And Tesla said the music of the ether.
Yes.
And then in Shakespeare the other day you were reading.
Yes.
And then Mozart.
Yes.
Mozart, all those great companies from the Middle Ages, they tapped immediately out of the universe to come. Yeah.
Music expands and elevates our awareness.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it does.
The chorus of the angels, but I think that we can tap into, like, there really is like a resonant sound that we can't hear. But if you go into that higher level or deeper state, you can hear it.
Pythagoras heard, supposedly according to tradition that was handed down by his disciples, Pythagoras heard the music of the spheres, which is what he called it.
I think animals are more closer to it than we are.
I do too.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, well, see, animals are sentient. We're still evolving monkeys, so there's a thing there. So I found interesting what he said was he talked about rising above opinions, right? And so, for me, this always gets back to, what are our opinions? And our opinions are basically their identities in a way. They're things that are formed from perspective based on the experiences that you have. And so when you meditate, like or when you do yoga or meditate, like you're trying to achieve consciousness, all sensing, where you're rising above the opinions, the identities, the issues, the challenges, the stuff that you do in your life. And so, I love that. And the other thing he said that I love, which was that, science is a devotion to God. I mean, like we've been convinced there's this age-old conflict between science and religion, or science and spirituality. And I've never seen that conflict. To me, both are seeking truth. And what is truth? God. Right? So if you're seeking truth, you can use a scientific method, or you can use ancient scriptures or philosophy, or there are a lot of things.
They can prove it now. They can measure the vibrations. They can measure the vibrations, so they can measure it. So they can measure actually the consciousness and the evolution. It is so. Yeah, science and spirituality, it goes together. And even they can see it in the brain, because they were doing tests what is meditation. And then they checked 3 different kind of meditations, and where they could see different spots in your brain is being more active. So and that gland, how you call it again in English, I don't know. It's totally activated and in a higher in a state of activation. So and they could see, and then they see, and you can see that the expression of the face, your eyes goes more relaxed state. Your eye gets more black, and your brain is totally relaxed, so that the sphere outside, the ego or the conditions, they are totally put down, and you receive actually direct that energy from above. So they could measure it with different states of meditation, and at a very deep state of meditation, it seems like the body is dead, but the body is not dead. The body is totally in peace, but it looks like for a scientist that it is dead, because you don't breathe hardly, or you don't need to breathe almost, because you're how it is working. I can't explain. I have the explanation, but I don't have it here. How it is, but so it's like science can measure it. Is the point I wanted to prove. It has been proven that meditation works very, very deep, and also the people who did the test, like people who are depressed, they are not depressed, and how they rise actually out of their state of depression with meditation. If they follow them 3 months, it's a big difference.
Imagine where we'd be right now if science had not divorced itself from religion, philosophy, and art.
Yep.
And if all four of them had, like they were in the ancient world, been really one science, one alchemy, one way of knowledge. Imagine where we'd be.
Yeah, because alchemy is science.
And imagine where we could be from this point on into the future if we start doing it right now. And of course, there have been some connections made with scientists like Rupert Sheldrake, and the I always forget his name, Susan. The Stamets, Paul Stamets, the mushroom.
What was creepy?
Genius, really.
What was creepy?
People like that. Graham Hancock.
I knew you were going to say Paul Stamets.
Mm-hmm.
That's how freaking creepy that was. You said, the guy, I keep forgetting his name, and it just appeared in my head, Paul Stamets. Mm-hmm. This is a weird little world that we live in. And it's so creepy. And so, for the thing that you're talking about is
we're building our telepathy.
I don't understand. I had no idea how to use it.
We are.
The internet. Telepathic powers.
Fuck you, Gates. Bye.
Yeah.
All that shit. Right.
We're not going to touch last night. Everybody keeps mentioning that. We're not going to touch it. I didn't watch. I was asleep. I don't need to know anything about it. I'm good. I got a few. I heard a few rumors. We're not going to touch that. So where would we be if we didn't adopt this world of this seeming 0.01% that separated spirituality from science and mathematics from whatever else? And like they divided up all biology and chemistry and physics, and they convinced everyone there are all these different fields of study, but there's just one field of study, and that is studying the universe, is studying truth. Seeking God, whatever that, that thing is, that great creator of this simulation creation. And if we maintain an open source world instead of like giving away our power to powerful people, we would be at the center of the galaxy. We would be flying and doing things and levitate. We'd be back to where they were in the times of India and the Mahabharata. But we've accepted this world of debt and money and slavery, and we want to keep it and keep voting for it.
We fell into matter.
We fell into matter.
We fell into matter. That's the sin. That's actually the sin. It's not that Eve bite the apple, but we fell into matter.
And matter is simply a particular state of consciousness.
Yeah.
Which does not perceive very much, and it is very limited, extremely limited.
So then I think, no, matter's lives doesn't matter. I'm sorry. I think this is how my head, somebody get upset by that. But in terms of how I'm thinking, like, I think there's always these vibrational words and phrases these psychopathic people give to us, and we embrace them. And it resonates darkly, but no matter matters. Not a drop of matter anywhere on this planet matters, because matter isn't real to a degree. It is like you said, it is a representation of energy, and it's literally manifested by whatever is measuring it. Matter doesn't matter at all. It's completely unscientific to say matter matters. You didn't bring anything here with you, and you won't take anything away. we don't focus on anything of value.
Yes.
Because we're like Christine, like you said, we're pulled into the matter world and we're taught to consent and embrace it and love it and eat more of it and thrive on it.
And it's all that matters. And it doesn't.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
No, matter is all that matters.
And it's a false reality.
Yes.
Everything in the manifest universe matters. Everything is a not a representation, but a manifestation of an idea. And that's something that Hermes gets into in the very first and second chapters, that everything is an idea in, as he puts it, the mind, the big mind of the eternal, the limitless, the boundless, the absolute.
I love it. And that was one of the areas I kept going back to, and I've replayed it probably 10 times, like reprocessing that we are literally in the mind of what, for lack of a better term, we're in the mind of God, and everything is a thought. You are a thought of God. Everything you touch and everything is a thought of you as well, right? Because how you're manifesting, but we are in the mind of God.
Yeah.
Yes, we are.
I'm gonna have to smoke weed if I get to know people.
That's also the creepy thing. Everything is already thought.
Don't worry, I got you.
I'm holding out. I'm holding out as long as I can, but y'all gonna make me smoke weed eventually.
I call dibs on being the weed grower.
Yeah. But the thing is, everything is thought in advance. That's why I'm always thinking about that the woman from Initiation who failed in her. Who failed the first time in her initiation, and she had seen her whole life for ages and ages living it, and then she lived it through in the matter because she failed her initiation. But that's creepy. That's really creepy. I mean,
well, and I love tests, and I love how, once again, all these ancient texts and truths sync up, right? So the test, right? It's easier for a rich man to inherit the kingdom of heaven than the camel to go through the eye of the needle. I think if I said that scripture right? Which is wealth. The more wealth that you have, the more you're trapped in the world of matter. The less you're likely to make it anywhere, especially the kingdom of heaven, whatever that is, because the needle was the hole in the castle wall, right? It was like the little hole, to the last merchants. After the walls were closed, the doors were locked up, you couldn't get an army through, but the needle was a very small hole where you could get a few people through who were late, and so a rich man couldn't get into safety, couldn't get in the castle when the invasion was coming unless they dropped all their packs, the camel and got on its knees to get through. So you had to leave your gold behind, you had to leave your things behind, and you had to enter in the kingdom of heaven on your knees with none of your matter that you've been collecting, that you've been dragging with you, running from the hordes chasing you, because that's what you value.
Yeah, and that's what keeps us down on earth. I mean, our attachment for all those things. I mean, you can enjoy the things, it's different, but being attached, we should not.
Yeah, and I think we should start using wealth in a better way, because I don't think wealth has anything to do with money, in my opinion.
Right.
No.
Not real wealth, anyway.
Yeah. Well, it's like
abundance is an energy. It's a vibrational energy that, it's mysterious. It really is mysterious. When you start to take care of yourself, then all of a sudden, shit just starts coming your way. You get all these opportunities. And how does that happen? I don't know how it happens, but I know that it happens. That kind of thing. You look at, you look at stories of, people that have worked on themselves, and they may not be, you know, a millionaire, but they don't lack for anything. So.
No, because those who are always seeking for more, they're getting insane, but it's never enough. Their emptiness is not
never
about
fill the hole.
The hole. It's a hole they never can fill, and that's because they don't seek for the higher. They don't seek for the love actually.
And to try to circle it back, I don't think I'm anti-money. Like, I think money is just a thing, right? It's you know, we can keep it or we can lose it, but it seems like for me in my voyage, the more of it I've ever had, the more I resonated in the matter world. The less I've had, the less I've resonated. In fact, in the times where I've had the least, I've had to get my joy from nature. I've had to get my joy from creativity and creating things. But it's like it has this weird energetic thing that makes you lazy and it makes you embrace things. But when you don't have it, you become more creative. Like I remember being a kid, my parents are well off. They could have bought all the toys they wanted for us, but they didn't. And so what I remember as a child, we'd get the box, we'd rip the box open at Christmas time, we'd play with the toy, and then we're done with the toy, and then we play with the box. And the box is what we would play with for a month or more, turning it into a robot, making things out of it, then making it a fort. I remember, you know, and so it's just like, I don't know, when you don't have those things, you don't have money, it makes you more creative. How do you define success? What does that mean?
Yes. It is finding your own happiness, I think, whatever. If you can be creative and you can create, I think that is success. Not gathering money and I mean, if you have success and you can share it with everybody, or you can share and create together or whatever, not at the cost of other people. And I think that's like you give something to someone else. And it's so nice that you see people happy by giving. It's also nice to get presents. I don't get me wrong, but it's sometimes even like if you see a child and you give it something, it's like so hard. I mean, so fulfilling, so joy giving. A child is so happy, and even a smile of a child is like super, makes me so happy. Actually, if children are happy, we don't need so much. It's not the things that make us happy. It's the people who are happy.
Exactly.
Yeah, and success is relative, I guess, because
completely.
Yeah, like a homeless man could get a meal for the day, and that would be success to him.
Yeah. Oh, there's something interesting there. So success is a relative thing. You know, there were times in my life where, having money meant success for me, you know, getting the promotion, going into management, stuff like that. And if I didn't do those things, I wouldn't have achieved a place where I realized I don't really actually see any value in money or the things that it produces. But I had to get this by getting the money, getting the things, and I realized there's no happiness in this. There's nothing. These things are dead. And so, you know, to me,
but in that case, it was your learning lesson. It was your learning lesson, so it was a good thing.
Right, you have to go where you resonate. When you hear people say that money shouldn't exist, and I say it every day, you know, you don't go with that. I'm sharing my experience with you. If you feel that success to you is getting money, then you need to do that, and that's going to take you on your own voyage, in your own time, in your own way.
Money earned by doing something creative, no matter what it is far different than money earned in slavery.
Or money,
it sucks. And that's why we need to get out of this system at all costs.
Yeah.
Because it will chew you up and spit you out and not bat an eye. It will take 40, 50 years of your life and give you virtually nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah. Well, and it'll burn up your ecosystem, your world too. Like I think the other thing, a friend of mine had a powerful saying. He said that, you know, the reason a lot of the wars exist is because everybody wants to drive cars. Everybody wants to live in big houses. And everybody in the world can't do that at the same time. So if America wants to do it, and China wants to, and Russia, and everybody wants to live like a fat cat, we're going to be in wars till we burn the planet up. But you know, everyone has their turn with ignorance, and so not just at a personal level, but maybe a national level.
Yes,
you know, we all can't partake in that lesson, but we get that lesson and we want to try to drag it out for a lifetime because it props up our ego or makes us feel good to have these big cars and fast cars and big houses, and maybe it's something you're supposed to partake in. Realize there's no value in this world that the Rockefellers created, and go your own way. But everyone's trying to get cars and keep cars when some people go with bicycles.
And you can't blame them because we, the West, we had everything, and now the third world wants it. So if we say, it doesn't bring us happiness, that's quite arrogant from us to say. Yeah, you can say that, but we didn't have it. So they need maybe that experience for maybe a shorter time. I don't know, because it's,
Real wealth is meaning. Finding meaning in your life, finding depth, finding that which nourishes you and fulfills you. That's what abundance really is. That's what real wealth really is.
It's finding the peace inside yourself. It's finding the contentment with what there is, like with what you have.
You know, Gerard, you mentioned the quote from the Bible, you know, rich man, it is harder for a rich man to pass through the eye of a needle than to enter the kingdom of heaven. And rich men, most of the rich men in this world live in a psychopaths in a complete state of inner poverty.
Yeah,
they are, and that's why they're energy vampires. Because they, to quote the film Tombstone, to quote Doc Holliday describing Johnny Ringo, they have a great big hole running right through the middle of them, and no amount of pain or suffering they inflict can ever fill it. That's them.
And they'll burn up the world trying to fill it up. So that takes me down the path of something we used to say when I used to go to church a lot, you know, which is, you know, the pastors and the ministers, they require that you sign these contracts for tithing, and they go walk you through what what you have to give, and your 10%. They got tithing goes, you tithe more. In some churches, you can sit in the front. And the whole reason why is because they were scared, right? Like, that's why people want wealth, is they're scared of having faith. They're scared of walking out on faith. And so the same way that the people in the church, you know, demand to run the church like a business and to guarantee that you give what you need so they can be comfortable, they're not living on faith, you know. And so the rich man, I think, is the same way, or woman, right? It's a person who is terrified of life. They can't give up their things. They need the security blanket. They need a big bank account. They need friends around them, security guards. The more they get, the more scared they get. The bigger the house gets, the more scared they get. The new neighborhood they have to move to. And it literally, it's a life based in fear, right? Using money as your security, maybe your spiritual resume.
But Jimmy T, the Comanches, they had slaves. It's not true that natives had no slaves. The Comanches, they had slaves.
A lot of the
Jimmy T said the concept of matter is strange for the Native Americans, but there were tribes who had slaves.
Iroquois.
Maybe is what he's trying to say, and I'm just guessing that slavery is different everywhere. Like there's always a different flavor of slavery. So maybe it wasn't as nefarious, you know. I do tend to have like a love affair with ancients and ancient culture and Native Americans and things like that. But maybe I wonder though, you know, is it as nefarious as say, you know, slavery from Africa and slavery from England, from the Corsair pirates and the Irish? I think there's always a different type of slavery. I mean, it's a different type of slavery. You know, we're doing this broadcast late in the evening because most of us got daytime slavery. It's always a different flavor.
It's different, but they had also their wars within with other tribes, so they were not really like they could be quite awful. I mean, they were not afraid of torturing either. So we see, I mean, there were not slave of matter so much, but they had other kinds of we need to have our honor, we need to different kinds of things they wanted too, but not so much in matter, maybe, and because they were nomads, but they had they were also not like 100% like noble as we think. We were much more evolved and much more in peace with nature around, but they had also kind of dark sides too.
Right. Well, every person, every society, has its good side and dark side. You can't say it was all good or all bad. Yeah. But I was gonna say I forget where I read it, but usually when Native Americans took slaves, they kind of adopted them. Well, they either got tortured or killed, or they got kind of like adopted into the tribe.
Yeah.
And when American settlers came here, a lot of the American settlers, like if they got taken and became a member of the tribe, they didn't want to leave. They refused to go back. They liked the Native American way of living better.
I read that too, but the people who couldn't adapt, they killed.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like, okay, they're useless. They also measured like, they were not like totally like, I just want to say because if they were good, they adapted and they were treated the same as not like, as different as their own people. But if they were useless, they got rid of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So with my love affair with Native Americans and ancient cultures, I'll say that, but even the aspects of things that they did that we do, the key difference to me is that they were sustainable, right?
Yes.
They lived in sync with nature, whether it's Native Americans, Aborigines, Germanic tribes in Africa. They lived in balance with their ecosystem. They didn't, crap where they eat. They didn't burn up the planet. They weren't destroyers of planets, right? They weren't monsters. They weren't psychopathic. They had their wars. They did vicious things, but there was a meaning behind everything they did, and they long term were sustainable. We are not. Like, they never come to a place that we are today.
Yes.
They, and so even the things they did that even mimic us in some way, they weren't an immature society. The societies we have today, these Rockefeller, Rothschild, based currency societies, they're not sustainable and they're not mature. They're very immature, which is why they keep collapsing.
And also the system was not democratic. You need to be wise. The wise elders, they leaded the tribes.
Right.
And it's not like, okay, if they're more stupid, the society gets more stupid leaders. That's actually how we rule. I mean, the most stupid, how do we vote? I mean, and it doesn't even, it's meaningless because the vote doesn't matter, but it's like stupidity and richdom is the value we give to people. If they have a high society position, we think they're good. I mean, it's totally different. And for them, they are totally different values, much more spiritual. They were actually almost there. My guru said the most people, as whole nation, as whole race, were the Native Americans. They were this close to total enlightenment, like this close. And then we came. And
And then we came.
Yeah, then we came. Oops.
Yeah,
that's
really on America.
What does ascension mean, you guys? You guys see Peter's question? Does ascension mean we're going to be able to ignore this nonsense soon, or we just be really compassionate during the extermination? Like, what does ascension mean to you?
I think we'll find out when we get there.
Yeah.
Woo! Come on, Jonathan Close. Play that.
Yeah. I think,
my jersey's rubbing off on us.
What I think, if you're there, you are compassion itself.
Unleash your inner Spicoli.
Man, I'm about to put on my beanie. I'm about to be cool like you, man. I'm too cool. He was like, brother, we won't know till we get there, man.
There you go, Gerard. Put it on.
Oh, brother, shoot, I try to be cool with Jonathan Close and be laid back. It's like, oh, we won't know till we get there, Peter. You're gonna find out.
We will know. Don't worry yourself too much. I mean, we can speculate. I have an idea. I'm sure Gerard has an idea. Christine and Susan have ideas. My idea is that the question we need to think about the question, definitely, but we can't think about those kinds of questions if we lose focus on the here and now.
Yes,
what's in front of my plate right now.
Right.
And what's in front of my plate right now is, a guy that would rather go eat chocolate than sit and write in his journal. That's the reality I'm dealing with right now.
Yeah, very simple things.
Very simple things. And if you keep focusing on the now, if you just put one foot in front of the other on the yellow brick road without worrying about the future, you'll get to your destination in divine timing.
Yes.
Now, ascension, what is it? It's simply, raising your level of awareness.
Mm-hmm.
I think, let me scroll back and look at his question again.
Well, in the Emerald Tablets, it says year after year,
there we go.
I forget the quote now, but basically year after year, I sought knowledge. So year after year, he learned more and more and more and more, because knowledge is wisdom and wisdom is power. And that's how you, right.
And looking at Peter's comment, it's a really good comment. I think both. It won't affect us.
The knowledge is not enough.
And we will feel compassion for others.
Yeah. But the knowledge is not enough. We have to experience it.
Yeah.
Because you can read 5 million books. If I read about building a house, that does not mean I can build a house. I have to do it. Mm-hmm. It's same with spirituality. You have to be confronted in the real world. How far are you? How can you be compassionate? How can you be stoic? Or are you easily triggered by everything?
Come here.
I have a cool answer. He asks, does ascension mean we're going to be able to ignore this nonsense soon? Maybe ascension means it's not nonsense. Think about that. Maybe being ascended here, being in perfect peace and joy, means it's not actually nonsense. It means that things are going exactly how they were. Things are in balance. The yin and the yang nicely. Everything is perfect. And maybe ascension while you're here is accepting that all this is supposed to happen.
Yes.
Right.
Accepting that there is no nonsense, that all of this actually makes good sense because we didn't have any sense in the past. And so now we got to deal with the nonsense.
Not resisting reality in however it approaches us. And that might mean pain. It probably will mean a lot of pain. It'll also mean a lot of joy and a lot of learning. If we embrace all of those things, eventually, if we keep doing it, if we remember not to forget that that's what we're all about, if as my teacher's teacher said, asking yourself constantly every day, will I remember not to forget? Will I keep reminding myself of what is real and what is important? And that is what's right on my plate now in the present.
Another thing is, because they talk about natives too, they really experience reality totally different. They see with their heart, they hear with their heart, and they everything goes through their heart, because there's an extremely good book, Neither Wolf, Neither Dog. And it talks about a different way of looking at life, like we whites do. Whites or Western people do, and they look totally different.
I'm not white.
How they look, and
I know.
That's why they have so much intuition and they have so much communication with nature, because they see it totally different. For them, nature is their relation, and we see this is animals. This is we put everything in in different kinds of categories. Oh, an animal is lower than us, an angel is higher than us, and for them, everything's our relations, and we can learn from everything. So they learn so much more easy from animals, and than we do, because for us we look down at animals, they don't. So only one thing.
Right. Should I continue?
Continue, because that was like 3 sentences.
That's true. We didn't get very far, did we?
45 minutes for 3 sentences.
Right.
That's how
Right.
that works.
We're still in the prologue here. we haven't even gotten to Hermes yet. Okay. All right. Hermes prophesies, however, that this spiritual philosophy will one day become lost and confused. Speaking from our distant past, he uncannily describes the predicament we find ourselves in today. Pure philosophy, and remember that philosophy is the love of wisdom. Pure philosophy has been replaced by the teachings of clever individuals with no mystical understanding of life. Well, that's academia. People have ceased to see the universe as a source of wonder and no longer revere it as the work of God. Spirituality has come to be dismissed by science as primitive superstition. The profound wisdom of the ancient Egyptians is thought of as a dead religion and a little more than an archaeological curiosity. Hermes foretells that Egypt, once the home of spirituality, will become a desolate place deserted by the gods. Out of compassion for future generations, Hermes writes his wisdom in books and orders them to be hidden. Like a time capsule of truth, Hermes' vision waits for its chance to awaken future generations who are lost and bewildered by life, people such as ourselves. And here is part 1, the prophecies of Hermes.
Just real quick though, because they're saying this,
we
have to make a time capsule. I don't know what's going to happen. And seriously,
I want to skip some part of my life. Maybe if you can do that, because you want
books like this need to be saved, and you know what I mean, for future generations, just in case, because they're coming for each. They're coming for anything that makes you think.
Books are tangible things that can be preserved. A Kindle cannot be preserved because it is dependent. I mean, there's, you need to keep it out of the sun and keep it at a normal temperature. Other than that, this book will last a very long time.
Yeah.
Even longer if it has a decent binding on it, a hardcover binding. But, a Kindle is dependent on electricity and a whole bunch of other things.
Is not the Akashic record an uploading system? Are we not storing our time capsule, our data, our experience? And I think that's why we're here. But I get what you're saying, right?
Yes,
there should probably be a physical record, but when the physical record gets destroyed, in which it always is, we don't have to keep coming back to this cycle where we have to tune into the universe and soul and the Akashic record.
Why did the Egyptians and the Mayans and the ancient pre-Celtic peoples that lived in Ireland and Britain and every other so-called stone builder culture, Göbekli Tepe, all of them, why did they carve in stone?
Because it lasts forever.
Stone lasts. It survives the cataclysms that they knew would happen.
Yeah. They see that far, and they have still some information hidden. There is still some.
Ooh, and it's interesting, right? So they carved in stone, and this is what the Egyptian priest told Solon, right? That the Greeks had no idea of history because they wrote on paper, and it keeps getting destroyed by fire and water or war or whatever. But Göbekli Tepe, so the Egyptians use stone, but you can destroy stone, right? You can change stone, like we know that
you have to work really hard at it, but you can do it.
Right. It actually wasn't the head of an Egyptian, right? This is dynastic times where they created the Sphinx and they think it was a lion or those, the lion-looking cat things. But Göbekli Tepe was different. Like they understood that not only do we need to etch it in stone, but we need to bury it. Like nobody needs to know it's here, and so that's like the permanent time capsule.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah. But
the Gnostics, after they knew they were being beaten by the church and they were going to be wiped out. What some Gnostic initiates did was they took all of this tremendous trove of scrolls, put it in a jar, and buried it in the desert. Now, how did they know where to bury it? Spirit guided them. I'm convinced because in 1945, some Egyptian peasant discovered it, dug it up, And the world knows that today as the Nag Hammadi scriptures.
Mm-hmm.
And all these Gnostic texts, the Gospel of Thomas, the Gospel of Truth, the Gospel of Mary, the Gospel of Jude, all of these Gnostic texts that we had thought were lost weren't lost.
Is there also not a Bible of
all of them?
Disciple of John, or is it
there's
John?
a bunch of them. There's a bunch of them,
and they're also buried.
Why did that happen? Because it was supposed to happen that way. We were supposed to rediscover those writings on the eve of the transition between Pisces and Aquarius.
The interesting thing is, we don't know nothing about the childhood of Jesus before he was. I mean, most thing is when he became 30 and he died at 33. But really, his childhood is very important. Like we know the childhood of Krishnamurti, of Rama. You can easily find their childhood time, but we don't know about Jesus. Must be somewhere also written down, but we don't know.
Well,
I believe
looking at the Gnostic literatures, there are a lot of interesting things in there, a lot. And who was Jesus? Mm-hmm. Do we really know who this person was?
Mary? Who was Mary?
All of it. And the Gnostic scriptures tell a different story than the four Gospels. A very different story in some places.
Beaufort is baby Jesus.
Beaufort is not baby. Beaufort is baby buffalo.
He's redneck Jesus. He's redneck Jesus.
He's not here.
Dean Brother Harsh with a tail and bifurcated horns. Hell no. I wish that on the baby Jesus. Christ is a consciousness, right? It keeps coming back. Yes. That's why I put Thoth in the upper corner there, right? Like so Kyle, Thoth, like this a consciousness. And but we keep repeating the same cycle. And it seems as though it never stops until we get to that point where we're ready for some sort of ascension, some sort of a global uplifting of consciousness. But you have to get matter to not matter. You got to stop getting people to cheer for
I think
matter to matter.
There may or may not be a global awareness of lifting of consciousness, but it'll never happen unless we do it individually ourselves and ignore everything else. And if we do not evolve ourselves, then even if the rest of the world ascends, it won't do you a damn bit of good.
No,
because you will still be a prisoner of your own mind.
You have to do it by yourself. Peace outside peace outside. The start is always inside.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's why they removed the Gnostic text. I mean, for anybody that's new to,
because they were recipes. They were they were blueprints about how to self-examine, about and knowledge about who we are really and what has happened to us.
Yeah. And I think when you embrace that peace, that joy, you're here, but you're not here, right? You're in this world, but not really of this world. And that is, I won't say that I'm there, but I'm in a space where it's just like, I'm working on me. I'm really not worried about what other people do. I'm working in the mirror. And
that's the first thing.
This world goes back into another great darkness time and medieval times, but I'm fine with that. Then that's what was supposed to happen,
right?
In every time there were enlightened souls, whatever the circumstances were, there were enlightened souls. Mm-hmm. So actually, the circumstances might trigger us to rise more quicker in that higher consciousness, but the circumstances are not the cause we don't have it. I mean, it's an inner desire, I think, that wakes up.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the cause can be outside, because when everybody is suffering, everybody is in trouble, and then you start seeking. I mean, most people start seeking what is actually happiness, if they don't have it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. One thing that Christ Henderson mentioned a minute ago, I'm convinced Christ is a concept, not a person. It could be based off several people. Yes, I agree completely. And I also think that there's a good chance that Shakespeare was also several different people. that we're all initiates and in the same source of knowledge. It's just a theory. Just a theory.
I think I do think he existed, and I think also Shakespeare existed, but his consciousness is is shared with. We can reach that same consciousness, and it's in everybody now.
Yes. Oh,
but
absolutely.
I do believe he was a person. I really do believe.
Oh, yeah.
That.
Yeah. Well, a human being wrote those things down. A human being wrote those words of pure wisdom down. Yeah. Does it matter what the name of that human being was?
Right.
I don't think so. Mm-hmm. Not to me. A human being said those things. A human being had done the work and arrived at that place in themselves of where all of their veils had been lifted, and they saw the truth.
But they are born as human beings, but actually they are not human beings. For me, it's like you can say they're aliens. They come they're incarnations from other realms. And they come on Earth to teach us, like the prophets.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They come on Earth, but they are not like human beings. We call them, because we always humanize what we don't understand, but they have the body of a human being, but actually they are not human beings. They incarnate as human beings. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. These are aliens of divine beings from other realms, and we can experience them deeper, and the consciousness of them much more deeper when we rise in consciousness, because that's what they want. They want us to be the same like them. That's the bottom line.
Yes.
They're basically saying you guys are really missing out.
Yeah.
You really are missing out.
Yeah. In the Emerald Tablets, they're called the Starborn.
Yeah.
And they want us to also be like them, Starborn, where we can instantly manifest anything and bend the light and the frequencies into matter and stuff. But
I think it is a concept, and I like how that's worded. If I would word it indifferent, I would say it's a frequency. And what it sends here what's needed during that era and that time and that place. And in one place, Christ is what was needed. In another place, it was Quetzalcoatl. In another place, it was Nikola Tesla. In another place, it was Edgar Cayce. Not to say that, they weren't great spiritual leaders, but they certainly were leaders in touch with this Akashic record, this root truth soul, where they were doing things that seemed alien, if you will, because they were alien in thought or alien in technology. They were alien to the planet. There were people who didn't fit in. They brought concepts that were obviously beyond the scale of what most people had. So I think certainly Christ it's a concept or frequency. And this generation, another generation, it could have been Martin Luther King. Another generation could have been JFK. And it may not have been them their entire life. It might have just been for a moment in time and what needed to happen within that moment.
There's some prophets, like they tap in that consciousness, but to me, they're really they're totally that divine consciousness, but they come in a human body. But like those high leaders in society, like John F. Kennedy, like the ones who really wanted the big change, they tap in more easily in that higher consciousness, whereby they get a kind of a positive charisma. So they can reach people. But you have it also in the dark side, because
in the dark side,
in deception, there is also a lot of charisma. So it's a kind of dangerous thing.
Like Obama.
He has a lot of charisma. Yeah. Extremely. And
oh shit.
Yeah.
He really is. Yeah. He's bad.
It's disgusting. His energy is disgusting.
Yeah, no, because back when I was still brainwashed, I didn't think nothing of it really. But Jimmy Dore, I watched the thing on Jimmy Dore today, and he showed the clip of when Obama went to Flint.
See?
And drinking the water and the way he talked and everything. Oh my God, it was like 1,000 times creepier. Like when it happened, it pissed me off. But when I watched it today, I was like, oh my God, he's Satan.
It's so arrogant.
Yeah.
But the thing is, that is what that was his task. There's so much deceiving, but we have to learn to see through it. Maybe it was his task. I can deceive as much as I want. It's my task to deceive the people. Or maybe something entered into him. I'm not saying he was all his life like that. And he became that. And he was good in it. And I think, see how easy it is to cheat people because I'm charming, I'm handsome. I mean, he was like that kind of like everybody look at other, and even now they can't see through it. But Jimmy Dore is always like, look what that bastard he was. He's like,
yeah, I know.
angry at him.
Yeah.
But it was
And,
a very weird vibe. It was terrible.
Mm-hmm.
And there's the trap, right? It's the identity trap. It's the idea that Obama exists and he doesn't. JFK exists and they don't. The four of us don't exist, right? We're all a part of a one consciousness, a one frequency, and there are different aspects of it. You know, but if we can say JFK was this or Obama was that, or black people are this or white people, it's like all these generalizations, to me, they don't resonate with the spiritual world. If this is spiritual warfare, then we have to be willing to say this person is serving darkness in this moment in time, and accept that tomorrow it could serve light in that moment in time. That spiritually, you know, there are different consciousnesses that people are tapping into throughout time, and we can't ever be a respecter of persons, and we have to let yesterday be yesterday and resonate with what resonates today. And so I agree with what you're saying there, Susan, in that when I look at certain people, I immediately get the creeps. When I look at certain people, like I you know, I'm not looking at their skin and I'm not looking at their face. I'm seeing sometimes there's a intuition that you have where you're picking up on the energy in their aura. But I have to agree is that, and you know, it's going to rub some people the wrong way. But when I look at Obama, I don't see anything healthy.
Human.
I don't see anything organic. I just see this dark resonance. And it might be that he used to be some sort of a light guy that eventually, once you envelop the energy of bombing and killing so many people,
it drags you down.
It drags you down and it pulls the life out of you. But
you know, you look at the rituals around the Skull and Bones thing at Yale, and what certain investigators have found out by the really sick fucking rituals that they practice, the ones that we know about. There's probably tons that we don't know about. You know, there's really dark stuff. It perverted sexual practices. They probably, you know, torture and violence and shit like that. And then you look at ceremonies at Bohemian Grove, like the cremation of care. The cremation of care. Just think of the name. They are killing the heart. That's what they're doing in that ceremony. And like you said, you know, bombing the fuck out of people, passing legislation that will throw millions in jail or millions in poverty and debt slavery. But the whole Manhattan Project was the World Wars were black magic rituals from beginning to end. And
the thing is,
that opened up a portal for really dark energy.
Yeah, but the thing is, when you're in a high society, like those dark energy, they always go to the people who are in a high position, because then they can drag millions of people with them. So they take the head, like in war. You have to take the chief, and then we can get them all. And that is what happened with Obama, because he might have started well.
Yeah.
He got, that's my guru said they're too young for it. They're not strong enough to like he was too young when he was elected. So he's not strong enough to pull away the evil. That's why he was so easy.
If you read John Perkins', you know, Confessions of an Economic Hitman, they target people with weaknesses.
Yes.
Ambition, or, you know, they have a sexual perversion, or they're addicted to something.
Yeah, they do.
Or they have a lavish lifestyle that they want. And so what do? They get these guys that are really intelligent and have these weaknesses, and they target them. If you do this and go to this country and deliver these papers and talk to this, then we'll make sure that your vices are met. And that's what they do. That's how they hook these people. And these are just, you know, John Perkins called himself a jackal. And that's what these CIA types do. They're jackals. And those are just the rank and file guys. Imagine what the initiation into the darkness is like higher up. We're talking, I'm convinced, demon possession. Demon possession. You lose yourself.
Yeah, but I read today the script of the Luciferian reads. Oh my God, I was not good at. I cannot even talk about it. It is terrible what they need. How more torture, how more pain, how better. So they get more energy when you suffer for and especially from children. They take they make them suffer so long because their blood gets kind of that the blood makes it better, and then they drink the blood alive from those children. It's like you cannot believe it. It's like
blood is magical.
Yeah. Let me ask a question.
It's sacred.
Yeah. Well, life is, and taking life is, and it's energetic too, right? So it's not just blood, cannibalism, drinking blood, but it also is the greed and wealth and the money that comes here from murdering people in other countries with legislation. Let me ask a question, because I want to be fair to people that still resonate with Obama. How do y'all feel when y'all look at Trump? Do you pick up anything when you look at Trump?
Are you asking us or?
I don't think that.
I'm asking you guys. I'm just trying to be fair and make sure we're kind of spreading it around. You know,
I don't know. I think the book is still out on him.
I don't really get like an evil. He's a monster.
No, I don't think he's that. No, I don't feel that with him.
I certainly think he's egotistical, but he has principles. He has some principles, and surprisingly, where did he get them? Well, that's a mystery in itself. You know,
but his personality is so much fixed on himself, so he doesn't care because I need to do this. I don't care. I don't care about anybody. I want to do this done, and he gets it done. And he doesn't want to please people. He wants to do his own thing. And by that, I
think he's very flawed, but he's a human being.
Even Biden, I don't get an actual evil feeling from. I feel more pity for him, like he's totally used. But I do get the sense of whatever he represents is evil. Like whatever.
Well, see, that's what I'm going for. I'm sorry, because I asked the question.
Robert might be right.
I don't have that.
Not from a what they do, what they say perspective, but just when you look at them energetically. What do you feel like? You know, that was more of the question. Like I think people who are like, you know, they understand what they've done, and does that mean that they are darkness? Or does that mean there's supposed to be darkness for you with where you are in your walk in this yin yang play that's playing out, and that they should look like light to other people?
But I'm to the point now, because like I said, I've been having a day and the world sucks, so it forced me to go inward. I've been having a rough week. And also I'm saying is it doesn't matter. Like none of those people matter really. Like whatever happens. Like I have no control over anything that's like, I don't have control over weapons. I don't have control over the FEMA camps. I don't have any control over any of that shit. So really, you know what I mean? Like it's like you got to work on yourself and take care of your own little world.
Right.
Because you are never going to have any kind of sense of peace if you're always thinking about that. And I mean, I know we have to live here, and like I'm going to be aware of like whatever new laws come down, you know what I mean? But
we have two physical eyes, and we also have two non-physical eyes. One to look at the world, and the other to look at ourselves.
Right.
And if we're not doing both, the one that looks at the world is supposed to keep us safe, to keep us out of danger.
Yeah.
And we have to prove and we have to test what we've learned in the real world.
It's also about
be in the world, but not of the world.
Yeah, it's also about
but primarily what you just said, Susan, is absolutely right. We have to work on ourselves.
Yeah.
We have to deal with what's in front of us right now.
And that's why we get in traps, because we identify too easily with right or with left or with people, and then we lose ourselves. And the thing is, we have to stay faithful to ourselves, that with the big S, to the big spirit in ourselves, not so much to the laws outside us, and it's always a test.
Mm-hmm. Because like I'm just aware of myself, and I know that I will get sucked in, and then it'll make me crazy because they're really freaking stupid, and why bother? So why drive myself crazy?
Exactly.
Because I'm not going to save anyone.
Yeah, and if you
comment on Facebook.
It's once you realize that there's no bottom, there's no limit to the shit that they will do to get power for themselves. Once you realize that, the rest really doesn't matter.
Yeah,
I mean, because that's it. They're, you know,
but Stephen Greer said,
it's all chit.
But also,
it is all chit. And so why did I ask the question? And I'm worried about well, no, she hates politics. She insisted that she does not play. She's like, I know she wants to choke that. She's cussing me out right now. She's like,
move on.
Yeah, that's funny, but it triggers. Yeah,
but she's right. She's right.
But everybody gets triggered by someone else. For me, it's like we are too much identified with it, so we don't need to identify with it. Yeah. But still, like Stephen Greer says, let them have their show, but you walk away, and then you don't get triggered.
Yeah. In the Gospel of Thomas, one of the Gnostic Gospels, the shortest passage is 2 words. Jesus said, "Be passers-by."
Yeah. So
let none of that stuff stick to you.
Right.
Yeah.
So for me, it's a thing. I think that everything is working together how it's supposed to. And I ask these questions because it's interesting to me to watch the play. And while I enjoy all the monkey activities and what everybody's up to, I don't resonate with death. Right? So I don't resonate with anyone that kills anyone. So, and I'm very clear about that with my friends who love Trump and the others who love Obama or whatever. It's just where I am is I'm a parent, and I can't fathom how any parent who loves their kid or uncle or aunt, you know, who or anybody who just loves the beauty and the purity of children would ever align with any group that kills children as a business, right? Back to United States Incorporated. So I think it's important to ask those questions because the vast majority of our nation and world still resonate in the political realm. And if we don't, we can go away and be aliens and be weird to them, and they just completely be passing by and don't pay attention. But if we constantly readdress the why there are no sides in consciousness, because you're sensing everyone.
That's why you have to rise above
and if you are conscious, you're not on any side of anything. You empathize with everyone, and just because your side will get gains, or your country, or your religion, or whatever you think is gaining, if it's gaining that on the death of people, then obviously there's nothing resonating in it for me. Right. So to me, it's more of a question. I think we can't stop addressing and applying, which is the purpose of this topic, ancient wisdom.
But the funny thing is,
to modern day.
The funny thing is, Trump triggers million people more than Obama did. So in a way that everybody hates him so much more. So and that we have to. I mean, then you have to we have to reflect on that issue. Why does everybody hate him so much?
Well, and when I get lost, it's because I see the people who are killing the most and who are cheering the things that are dark. Don't like that side, but there still is that point that any life lost is like every life is lost, right? Injustice anywhere is injustice everywhere. So even though what we seem to see very clearly as darkness, it defying something else, it doesn't make it light. It just means that it's defying something else. So it's interesting. It's interesting, but it's something that always pulls me up when I start to fall into it, and that is if you're surviving off those things, then that is not righteousness, whatever that is. Maybe we should read further.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here we are.
Leave those behind.
We're actually up to what Hermes says now.
Good.
Okay, here we go. We got it. We got it. We got there.
Yeah,
Okay.
it only took an hour for a one-page introduction. Over an hour.
All right.
All right.
Pure philosophy is spiritual striving through constant contemplation to attain true knowledge of Autum, the one God. But speaking now in prophecy, I say that in times to come, no one will pursue philosophy with single-mindedness and purity of heart. Those with a grudging and ungenerous temperament will try and prevent men discovering the priceless gift of immortality. Philosophy will become confused, making it hard to comprehend. It will be corrupted by spurious speculation. It will be entangled with bewildering sciences like arithmetic, music, and geometry. The student of pure philosophy studies the sciences not as fanciful theories, but as devotion to Autum, because they reveal a universe perfectly ordered by the power of number, because measuring the depths of the sea and forces of fire and magnitudes of physical things leads to a reverent awe at the Creator's skill and wisdom, because the mysteries of music bear witness to the unsurpassed talent of the supreme artist, who has beautifully harmonized all things into a single whole, suffused with sweet melodies. To simply love Autum in thought, with singleness of heart, and to follow the goodness of his will. This is philosophy, unsullied by intrusive cravings for pointless opinions, what we were just involved in.
Yeah, but because it doesn't matter, actually.
It doesn't matter, no.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. But I foresee that in times to come, clever individuals will mislead the minds of men, turning them away from pure philosophy. It will be taught that our sacred devotion was ineffectual, and the heartfelt piety and assiduous service with which we Egyptians honor Autum was a waste without reward. Egypt is an image of the heavens, and the whole cosmos dwells here, in this its sanctuary. But the gods will desert the earth and return to heaven, abandoning this land that was once the home of spirituality.
Yes.
Egypt will be forsaken. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, because that's what I mean. They were godlike people, gods, literally gods on earth, and they ran away. So in that case, and some they come back in a human form.
Well,
but
this is represented mythologically when the teacher, the crone, the old man, like Obi-Wan Kenobi in Star Wars. Obi-Wan Kenobi represents the archetype of the teacher. The teacher, at some point after the training has been given, the teacher has to leave.
Yeah.
Why? So that we can stand on our own feet.
Yes.
We have to become the hero.
Yeah. And then we have to become the teacher.
Yes.
And evolve in the same consciousness.
Right. So
because
the gods,
came from that other realm. So I don't see them really, but they had task. Okay, these human beings, we want to make them like us. We give them the tools. We never do. We never use the tools. We find something different, like ego and superego, and we play with that, and then we don't rise, and then they bring other people. It's always the same story. So
we had to go through Kali Yuga. We had to go through the Iron Age.
Yes.
Because that's how you stand on your own 2 feet.
Yeah.
There's no other way. Yeah. Egypt will be forsaken and desolate, bereft of the presence of the gods. It will be overrun by foreigners who will neglect our sacred ways. This holy land of temples and shrines will be filled with corpses and funerals. The sacred Nile will be swollen with blood, and her waters will rise, utterly fouled with gore. Does this make you weep? There is worse to follow. This land that was a spiritual teacher for all humankind, which loved the gods with such devotion that they deigned to sojourn here on earth. This land will exceed all others in cruelty. The dead will far outnumber the living, and the survivors will be known as Egyptians by their language alone, for in their actions they will be like men of another race. O Egypt, nothing will remain of your religion but an empty tale, which even your own children will not believe. Nothing will be left to tell of your wisdom but old graven stones. Men will be weary of life and will cease seeing the universe as worthy of reverent wonder. Spirituality, the greatest of all blessings, will be threatened with extinction and believed a burden to be scorned. The world will no longer be loved as an incomparable work of Atum, a glorious monument to his primal goodness, an instrument of his divine will, to evoke veneration and praise in the beholder. Egypt will be widowed. Every sacred voice will be silenced. Darkness will be preferred to light. No eyes will raise to heaven. The pure will be thought insane, and the impure will be honored as wise. The madman will be believed to be brave, and the wicked esteemed as good. Knowledge of the immortal soul will be laughed at and denied. No reverent words worthy of heaven will be heard or believed. So I, thrice great Hermes, the first of men, to attain all knowledge, have inscribed the secrets of the gods in sacred symbols and holy hieroglyphs on these stone tablets, which I have concealed for a future world that may seek our sacred wisdom. Through all-seeing mind, I myself have been the witness of the invisible things of heaven, and through contemplation come to knowledge of the truth. This knowing I have set down in these writings. That's the end of part 1.
Yeah, he describes, the Kali Yuga, eh? This, and then what I'm wondering is, what is actually the true meaning of Egypt? Maybe there's a special name too. Do you know?
Egypt.
Translation of the word
Kem,
or whatever.
Kem is the name. I'm not sure what the Egyptian etymology of the word is.
Oh yeah.
But I know that the word alchemy comes from, alchemy basically literally means the knowledge from Egypt, the wisdom from Egypt.
Okay.
Yeah, and humans are Kemet.
Yes. Yes. So it's like, so Egypt is like the land of the people.
Yeah.
The land of humanity. True humanity.
Yeah, and it's a reflection of the heavens.
Yes.
Yes. They actually created Egypt to mimic the heavens here on Earth.
Yes, and Kali Yuga, the cycles.
Yes.
Those are represented in individual human lives as well. We have our phase where we are taught, and then we have a phase where we're tested, and that's our Kali Yuga phase, and it may last years and years. And we have to settle in for that, because there are lessons there that we have to learn.
Yeah, but you think it cannot get worse, but it still can get more worse. That's my fear, actually.
Well, I believe in divine timing, and I hope, I have faith that this is the time where we are going to come out of the dark, and there is going to be a dawn. Now, I don't know what that, it's just a hope that I have, because we need to have hope.
Yes.
You take the leap of faith when you need to, because the ground that you're standing on is going to fall away from under your feet, and you have to fly to get to the other side.
Yes.
So you take the leap because you need to.
All empires rise and fall, and we are now in the falling of the empires of the West. Not only America, but just the West.
I would say thank goodness. Like, one thing I've realized in life, when I'm not supposed to be in a place, I have a problem with like staying places too long, like jobs and hanging around certain people or whatever. Life will drive you. right? It will become too hard for you to stay in a location. It'll become too toxic for you to stay around certain people and certain environments. And I always feel that, we're being driven. And I feel in my life that when I've stayed too long in a position or whatever it is, it becomes so toxic that I have no other choice. I have to move on. I won't make it.
I recognize it too. I have to move. But I think sometimes, why can't you not live with, just try more. It's what I'm saying to myself. But yeah, you get driven by life. You're like, you have to follow that.
And we're talking about the Kali Yuga and the end of the Iron Age and stuff. And I don't think it's a coincidence that for the precession of the equinoxes, the 26,000 year cycle, that, in my opinion, would be more accurate to the gods because they lived a lot longer than our little cycles. You know what I mean? But we're now heading into the winter equinox the winter equinox of the precession of the, so like the 2,000 years of Pisces.
Yes.
Now we're in the 2,000 years of Aquarius, which is the winter. Yeah. So this is the time when everything gets quiet and everything dies so the new life can come. So we have to go through this that transformation period.
Yeah. And it's also when the sun incrementally starts getting more powerful every day. Every day. The days get a little bit longer and the nights get a little bit shorter. So, they're images in nature are all nature is a metaphor for the inner life. It always has been. And because they're both manifestations of the one mind.
But there is also something like our environment is also a reflection of ourselves. So when we evolve, our environments change.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And there are people who are probably dependent upon you. There's something that I used to think about, whether or not, people are sent into your life to help you move on. And they are trapped where they are because you're not resonating the way you should be resonating. And that you actually help to hold other people down because you don't move on. So a thought of, don't be so concerned about what you're trying to teach people. Be concerned about what they're trying to teach you. And so how the yin drives the yang, and with the yang drives the yin, I forgot who's doing the driving, but they all work together. And so, where I was leading with that earlier is, I think people are supposed to support and embrace Obama. I think they're supposed to love him. I think they're supposed to vote for Joe Biden. I think they're supposed to vote for Donald Trump. I think they're supposed to do all these things because it's what ends up teaching us. Those things have to happen, and we have to be at peace for Black Lives Matter, Ku Klux Klan, Black Panthers, Antifa, Prayer Boys, that if they're all resonating where they're supposed to be resonating, we're all learning what we're supposed to be learning, as opposed to fighting them. We're supposed to focus on ourselves and be watching them.
Yeah, actually, they reveal themselves anyhow. So we need them because then we get revealed. It's all an illusion. The promises and what they do, it seems we as mankind, which should, like you said, evolve further than those leadership who are not able to lead nations because they don't represent the people. So we get back on ourselves. That's what I think. The teaching, like we have to be like mature, not being anymore baby, like mother state has to be our parent. We should be on our own feet.
Spiritual maturity, finding balance and peace in the storm, right? Going through that storm and just counting it all joy. Accept what God allows, as that scripture says. Accept what the universe allows, and if the universe is allowing it, then
it has to happen.
Know that it has to happen, right? And so back to that whole ascension.
My guru said, not even a leaf will move if God doesn't want it to move. So whatever happens, will happen.
And no one can escape the consequences and the responsibility of their choices.
Yeah.
People pretend like they can. That's what being a blue pill is all about. I'm going to enjoy the freedom without any of the responsibility, without any of the work, and without and believing that there are no consequences to my choices.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
It's infantile.
Yeah.
It does not accord with reality.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what they're trying to work out.
Yeah.
Assuming they have souls like we do.
Yeah, it's finding that peace. I always appreciate Elaine. I don't know if she left, but she always likes to say, y'all gonna change the world. Good luck. Go on. Get on out there. That's what you feel you need to do. Go, waste your time. You don't try to change other people.
Like Tyson had fun and storming the castle, and they did have fun.
Have fun storming the castle. Go on. If that's what you feel you got to do. Let me know when you're tired of beating a brick wall. Let me know.
Lao Tzu has a brilliant chapter on just this idea. He says directly to his reader, do you want to take the world and tinker with it or change it or do something to it, depending on the translation?
Yeah.
And then his response to that is, I see you never reaching the end. The world is a sacred vessel which must not be tampered with or desired after. That's a lot to take in, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Buddhists have a lot of teachings on desire. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, desire. What do you mean with desire?
And what he's saying is basically, if you have your focus on the outside,
yes,
it's in the wrong place.
Yes. Yeah.
Because if you're trying to, because engaging in the world is forgetting yourself.
Yes.
It's a form of sleep.
Yeah.
You are forgetting yourself and forgetting what really truly matters. The only thing that matters, because the world, as Jesus says, is passing away.
Mm-hmm. It's only a second.
You're going to die. We're all going to die. We're all going to die. And and we have to ask ourselves, what really matters? What is it that really matters?
To live our life, to love, and to follow
to learn
what we
and
want
love
to do instead of being influenced by outside powers.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that is like what the Buddha's teaching right there, right? Desire is the root of all suffering. And so
because
people suffer because they can't find any peace in themselves. They can't find peace where they are. They can't live within their own means and their own space, and they can't find joy. So they need more and more and more and more. And so they're never satisfied. And so they're always suffering their entire life because they're never content.
Yeah. In my opinion, Lori just made the comment of the day. I am tired of being infantile.
Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen.
Mm-hmm. And also, if you go from your path, you don't get what is meant for you on your path. So the thing is, we run after things or happiness, but the happiness is on your path, and we leave our path, and we don't see it. Because whatever we need in life, I think if we stay on our path, it will come to you. You don't have to go after it, to chase it. It's like in Taoism, they say, don't go after the mountain, let the mountain come to you. It's a saying of, so whenever we want, or we look up at that, I want to be like him or like her, and we try to follow them. But then we lose our own path and we miss what we might have had if we didn't went from our path. That's what I think.
It's your life. You've got to live it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If we abdicated it, yes, accept it as it comes. And if we abdicate our responsibility like King Lear, guess what's going to happen? Your whole kingdom is going to be ripped apart.
Yeah.
What do y'all think about the concept, the idea that we pick and choose these lives, that outside of this, we decided that we wanted to be Jonathan Close with these challenges, surrounded by these people and born to this person, these people. I want to be Christine, surrounded by these people and born in this family and living in this country. Do y'all believe that before getting here, that we,
I think
some degree, choose the challenges we need to go through because we know that we need to go through those challenges?
Right.
I think so. We do.
Right.
To some degree, I believe that we choose. That's why we can't blame our parents and our environment, because actually we choose for it. We choose to learn some lessons. Actually, that's what I believe for most of the part. Maybe for not all the part, maybe, I don't know, but to some degree, I think we choose our environments. And then when we in life, we think, my God, why did I choose this one? If I was looking up from heaven, I think, okay, I can do it, it's okay. And then you were thrown into the mattress, and no, actually not.
Yeah, I have to say that. Yeah, I don't remember choosing. I think one of the brothers said earlier, you know, like thinking about the esoteric to a degree is like, it's like asking a nose what a nose looks like. It's impossible to see that, but I laugh about it. And sometimes I wonder. So if that is true, I'm wondering, like, what the hell am I trying to teach myself? Like, why would I put myself through some of the things that I've gone through? And so for me, it's a lot of reflection. Like when things happen in life, I'm constantly analyzing and I'm trying to reflect. What am I supposed to be getting out of this lesson? Like, not what are the white supremacists supposed to learn? Not what are this side, or not what is the husband or the wife that my kids are supposed to. What am I supposed to learn by these people or these interactions that I'm having? What am I trying to teach myself, as opposed to trying to teach other people? And I think it's that inner reflection, like we started talking about earlier. You know, the reason they took the Gnostic texts out are the same reason they banned psychedelics, right? They need you to not focus on you. They don't want you to question you. They want you to force other people to become what they tell you they should become, you know, and that is like the slave mind.
That's what they do. Always take your attention outside of you, so you don't grow, so you don't have you cannot spiritual grow. And that is the biggest trap, because the only thing we should, I mean, my teacher, my guru said, don't blame other people for whatever they do. Look at yourself, correct yourself. It's like you blame other people for the spot on your dress. Like your dress is dirty. It's not for other people to wash your dress. You need to wash your dress and keep your clean. And if you're clean, you don't mind what other people do, because it doesn't affect you then.
Right.
But
we are. Go ahead. We are conditioned, so conditioned to do anything else before we would look at ourselves.
Yes.
Well, it's also, we're in a culture where they teach you that you need outside validation to feel good instead of inside self-validation to feel good.
Right.
Yes.
And what you own and what you buy validates you.
Yeah. Right.
Yes.
It's your externals that are the measure of humanity.
Your stickers.
Bullshit. So your stickers. Exactly.
Yes.
That actually fits very well.
I love it.
What do they call it in that flair? What is the movie The Office? You got to have your stickers, your flair, your buttons.
Stickers.
You know.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks cool on the Boy Scouts.
Yeah.
I'm not a Boy Scout anymore.
No, true. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a jab. That's a jab, right?
That's a compliment to the Boy Scouts, because they do it right.
Well, no, it's a jab to adults, because that really is.
That's definitely.
These are your stickers and your buttons that you got, your car, your house, your clothes, your jewels, your jewelry, your money, how much this you have, and it's like all of these little gold stars, like Lori just said that the teacher gives you, right? It's this idea that we can't get past being infantile.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly how she said it, is that we embrace these infantile ideas that our value is the external crap that there is stolen from other countries and slaves make it, then we buy it at the Home Depot and we slap it on.
If you look at pop culture and the conditioning that has been afflicted on the American people now for decades, they have shortened childhood to almost nothing, and they have extended adolescence.
Yes.
For a long period of time.
And you know,
how many people in our culture in their late 20s don't know how to do simple things like filling out their own taxes?
Or, I'm reading this book. Yeah. Those kids, they know at 11 years how to survive. They know how to survive at 11 years, and they totally they know where to find water in the desert. They know it, and they don't have that kind of long dependency on others because they know how to survive on their own because they have to, because they have to know their environment. They're taught easily, and there is no messing around. Oh, I don't want to do, because if they have like spoiled behavior, they don't survive. But we are in such a culture that we can be for a long time baby. Like most people maybe are all their life baby.
Yeah. You can't, because I have to go vote because somebody's going to take my stickers, right? We have to blow up their country. They're going to take my stickers. Like, these are my stickers. They don't keep touching my stickers, right? And
are they going to give us stickers in the FEMA camp? They probably are.
You get your stickers for good behavior. You're going to get your stickers for your vaccine. Like, and this is really who we've become. We've become these big babies who are like, oh my God, we're sticking stickers. Stickers ain't going nowhere anytime soon, because this is the adult life. The adult life is stickers. And so you have these dinner parties. I used to go to them, and everybody sits around. They talk about the stickers, right? But my daughters get straight A's, and she went to this college, and she's getting this degree, and she got a job here. And my son is this, and I'm this, and John just got promoted, and Margaret is doing this, and we just upgraded. We got the new Acura, and it's just like stickers, like a bunch of kids getting together.
Right.
Hey, show me your stickers. Let me see yours.
Yeah.
My teacher would have responded to that. My teacher, or especially his teacher, would have responded to that. Yes, but how is your inner life?
Dead.
They will say you're crazy, what are you asking?
Mama.
Yeah.
They can't comprehend.
How to answer that.
They can't. They don't even have the category. They don't even have the category.
Inner?
Yeah.
What do you mean, my insides? Like,
right. My liver.
I got my vaccines, John. What are you talking about? My insides have to be. I'm cured. I think I'm healthy now.
When we first reflect on our own consciousness in a critical, objective way, we create a space within us, a space that we can actually stand back from and begin to observe ourselves. This is actually something that Beaufort and I were talking on the phone about last night after our cast on Harsh, Susan. And we were talking about the nuts and bolts of meditation. And you need that space in order to step back and observe, the step away from your machine consciousness,
right?
The automatic behavior that you've been living in your whole life. And you're able to step back from that and observe it objectively. Like Krishnamurti, that's what he's hammering on again and again in his books, is that gap where you can actually look at yourself and simply observe the machine at work. And by doing that, Gurdjieff says, after he describes this very brilliantly, actually Ouspensky describes it for him in Search of the Miraculous. He's basically saying that when you really observe yourself for a very long time, diligently, and you learn how to do it better and better and better until you can really attain the meditative state that Jesus talks about when he says pray incessantly. That's what he means. It means that you are observing yourself throughout the day. And Gurdjieff says that this actually fuses all of the different I's, the different egos in our minds, the different personas into a single individual consciousness. And you become an individual. And that is in his system, the fourth stage. The first three stages have to do with developing your mind, your emotions, and your desires, your body, your physical side. So the fourth stage, there are 7 stages in his system. The fourth stage is about fusing yourself into an individual. And you are capable of just exactly what Hermes was saying in this chapter that I just read, by purity of heart and singleness of mind. which is to desire one thing.
Yeah,
One
heart,
thing
yeah.
alone.
Heart, mind, and desire has to be on the same line.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's fragmented. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And once we've attained true individuality, then we can really make progress.
And then everything succeeds in what
because all those different egos, you know, they're fighting each other for control over the machine.
Yeah. They're not impeding progress.
Yeah.
You've gotten rid of your desires and your passions for the world and matter. You just focus on yourself. And so all the distractions are gone.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And this gets back to the earlier point, which was where would we be,
mm-hmm.
you know, if we weren't given this false world and these false distractions to keep us in struggles with one another?
Right.
So what are the people doing that gave this to us? Like, what are the people doing that gave us currencies and banking and economics and government? The people who are above and beyond that, those who aren't subject to those laws and all that bullshit, what are they doing? What have they been doing for the past 1,000 years while we've been playing, you know, bull crap politics and nation wars and global conflict? You know, that's a scary thought, but to a degree, then I digress and back up and say, but they're not going to get anywhere with it. No. They could have all the texts they want. They can have all the sites and archaeology and knowledge. They can't apply it because those things aren't for them to apply. So their only goal has to be to just keep us from it. You can't go to this site. You can't read this text. You can't go to the Vatican because these are the things that are for you. So I'm going to keep them from you. And their only real power isn't that they can use that stuff over us, it's that they just keep it from us. And we're happy to let them do that
they see themselves as good parents. Sure. Right. Yeah, they do.
That. Mommy gave me some stickers. So
yeah, there you go.
You run home from school and say, I got an A on the test, Mom. Like, okay, you got a job. Yay. You work for the military industrial. Here's your sticker. You know.
Well, I mean, our world is pretty much completely colonized everywhere. But
everywhere.
But like in my opinion, but in my like opinion or whatever, it wouldn't matter if you had these texts or not, because like let's say there was like 10 people who just happened to live in the middle of nowhere in the woods, and I think they could ascend, and actually I think they could probably ascend or reach a higher consciousness or connect to the divine way easier than us bombarded with all this shit without any ancient texts, without any ancient wisdom, just because they're in nature in their natural state. They're not surrounded by chaos and fighting, and they can actually hear the earth. You know what I mean? And hear the cosmos.
Yes.
You know?
They live totally in harmony. Yeah. Like the bush people in Africa, those what is that? The movie from when the
colonizers must be crazy. Another guy.
Yeah. Those, but that's a beautiful life. If you
in centuries to come, that might be the film that represents the 20th century. I think. Right.
Oh, I know it will be. Oh, I know it will be. It'll just say the politicians must be crazy. You know, and they got this little thing called the United States Incorporated that somebody threw out of a window. One of the Rothschilds, Rockefellers landed, and people got it, started hitting each other in the head with it. And that actually explains politics. But where I was going with that? Oh, right. And so, haven't there been tribes that have disappeared? Like, have you guys ever spent any time? I used to look at some of this stuff where there were groups of people who had civilizations, and there's one not too far from you, John. Where they completely disappeared, and no one knows where they completely went. And the sea, was it?
Are they called the Anasazi? Not the Anasazi, the pre-Anasazi.
You can't visit
the people that built Chaco, the people that built Chaco Canyon.
Yes, that's one of them. They don't know where they went.
Of them.
And what was either NASA? I think NASA or the CIA.
And they built this amazing complex out there. I look like the meme guy now. But they built this amazing complex out there. And it wasn't a part of their growing area. It wasn't on their trade routes. They picked that site deliberately for some other reason, because there's really no water and no arable land around there. They picked that site for another reason, for an inner esoteric reason.
Yeah, or they were told. right?
Yes.
So getting back to the whole
definitely
pyramid
we're guided,
and the ley lines, like a lot of this stuff, I think is chosen because it's where it is.
Yes.
They disappeared. It was Chaco Canyon. I'm gonna try to pull
Chaco Canyon. Yes.
Yeah. But I also read
That's
about
in New Mexico. It's in western New Mexico.
Is it a tribe of the Apaches?
No, Chaco Canyon was the Anasazi say that we did not build Chaco Canyon. It was our ancestors that built it and were there. So the tribe itself, poof, who knows?
Yeah,
nobody knows.
Because there is a myth or a legend that they escaped somewhere still on Earth, but on a level where we can't find them because they have that kind of energy to protect themselves. That's what I read about. It was a kind of, but I thought it was a kind of a part of a tribe of the Apaches. I don't know the name anymore.
Yeah, they built a civilization.
There we go.
And it was in a crossroads, and they just one day disappeared. No one knows where these people went.
The kivas are all sunk underground. They're all circular. They all have places to sit on, and they all have astronomical alignments.
Wow.
And there's a lot of sacred geometry involved in the arrangement of the kivas. It's a massive area.
Yeah. We are a species with amnesia. And
yes, we have PTSD. Yes.
Yeah.
We have amnesia. Exactly, Gerard.
Who we were and where we came from. It's critical that more and more people start to focus on that, because there's so much that's being hidden from us. And
wow.
Yeah, beautiful. But yeah, so there was something that I'd have to spend some time.
Yeah.
There was something about NASA taking an interest in them because of some sort of, I think, star charts or something. I forgot. It was a while ago.
Right.
That, that they ascended. And maybe ascension, maybe there are different types of ascension. Maybe there is the spiritual ascension, maybe there's a physical ascension too. Maybe they did go into the heavens. Maybe the star gods did take them into the heavens. One of my favorite shows is Stargate. I told you that's one of my escape from the nonsense. I'll go watch sci-fi, but it's a show that's kind of based in there being stargates. And the ancients, the gods, the sky gods came to Earth and brought people through the Stargate and populated the universe with people from Earth.
Science fiction culture, science fiction has been one of the last refuges for intelligent thinkers, both writers and readers. Because of the history of science fiction, it was a place where writers could go and discuss issues, societal issues, whatever, politics, economics, society, culture, that they can't say in public. And so they fictionalize it into the future, into a different, galaxy, into whatever. And then they can talk about all the shit, the real shit, And I think that the dark, whatever they are, the cabal, whatever you want to call them, knows that about science fiction and has gone after it. Look at Hollywood. Look at Hollywood. Look at what they've done with science fiction. They've basically turned science fiction into action shoot 'em ups.
Yeah, true. The Star Wars, there's a lot of truth in Star Wars.
Star Wars started as mythology.
Yeah, it's not a mythology.
Now The Mandalorian is a gripping story.
Yeah,
that's because Dave Filoni, the guy behind it, is a real creative person. He's a real human being.
Yeah.
But if you leave it in the hands of these Disney directors that they hire, J.J. Abrams, Rian Johnson, these people, there's a hidden agenda at work there. It is not a message of light. Let's put it that way. There's some dark things in those movies. Those three, the sequels, 7, 8, and 9.
Can I tell you a little secret?
I don't want to turn this into a conversation about Star Wars. But,
well, no. Yeah. So that's fine. They stole that story from an ancient Indian text.
Really?
I don't know, Christine, is that where you were going with that? Yeah. The story of Star Wars, where this princess was taken into space, was captured, and all the fighting that occurred back then, all the different cultures, that actually came from one of the texts. I believe it was in Mahabharata.
I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised.
Yeah. So
the original trilogy.
Me neither. It's
the original trilogy is mythology. It is white magic.
Yeah.
It is helping people. It helped I was born in 1970. I was 7 years old when the first movie came out. I'm that generation, and it's truly, there was nothing like it. Nothing like it.
It caught everybody's eye.
Yes, it was just like a light bomb went off.
Yeah. It's a very auspicious thing to watch. Yeah, and
I'm convinced that Disney bought it from Lucas. They really wanted it, because I don't think they're trying to kill it. No, they're not trying to kill it. They want to convert it into just another money-making machine, which has no depth to it whatsoever.
Yeah, true.
Anyway.
Wow, that's interesting that it came from,
because the original trilogy is dangerous. It's full of light. Of course it's dangerous. They're the dark. I mean, I certainly have no illusions about Disney Corporation. I don't think any of us do.
No, not anymore.
No way. Hell no. Yeah.
But I think it started Disney itself, Walt Disney. I think he was not bad. I don't know, because he really.
I don't know.
For him,
Yeah.
But it's all corrupted and thing. But I don't think he.
I'll tell you this, as someone that knows something about fairy tales.
Yeah.
I don't have any degrees in that, but I know what I'm talking about. They went after fairy tales and at first sentimentalized them.
Yeah.
Took all the blood and gore out of them, which is often symbolic. That's
why my guru said that's not good.
The way I think of fairy tales are like artifacts of ancient technology that are amazing and magical and wonderful. And to tinker with them like a complete idiot with a monkey brain, you're going to wreck the thing. That's how I kind of see Disney.
But that's like, because we make those fairy tales like very sweet and sentimental for little kids. But actually, if you're in India and you read the stories about Rama when he was young, or about Krishna, and then they kill people and they behead people because demons. But my guru said you have to give it like that, because then they learn to know the difference between good and evil. But now you give them like a lot of syrup and all those kind of deception sweetness, which is not good.
Yes, and those stories all operate on levels, on multiple levels of meaning and interpretation. There's the level for blockheads. And then there's the level for people that are in the intermediate stage.
Yes.
That are beginning to look at themselves.
Yes.
Well, I mean, like, it's all a big thing. It's all connected. But when you first of all, you take out all the bad stuff, right? So it projects this, I guess, image of how everything has to be all good, right? And none of us are all good. Yeah. Like, I was trying to look up this passage in the tablets, and it was actually just talking, and what I was reading was talking about how every man is born with light and darkness in them. Everyone is, so if you make it glossed over, then people are just going to be like, I can't recognize my darkness, I can't acknowledge my darkness, I can't face it or admit that I have any. And then how do you grow? How do you deal with that when you know what I mean, when you think you can't? And then the other thing is, now on TV, like, I was thinking about it the other day, like, and I hate to bring this politics shit up again, but I'm really sick of it. When all that happens and everything, like if this was my grandparents' time and the Capitol got stormed, it would be all day, like, but they switch the story every 3 minutes. Every 3 minutes it's a new story, and it's a new story, and they desensitized us so much to the darkness that we have now accepted it in the outer world as totally normal. That don't even faze us, while totally ignoring our own inner darkness.
It's like the narrative changes every 2 weeks, and Americans have a short-term memory of 2 weeks long.
No,
it's like, and they completely forget what just happened a month ago,
right?
Which there's and we're all going like, you guys look at these questions we have over here. No, I'm moving on, right?
Yeah.
So like defund the police, and then now there was the police let them in and things like in the summer everything was the opposite, and now it's that they forget, and that's fragmented minds. That's why it's so easy to manipulate people. But they don't see the whole.
Yeah, which is why it's good that we have each other in terms of it's entertaining, and then okay, pull up now. That has nothing to do with you. And I'll be perfectly honest with you, like TV is so dangerous to me from that perspective, because it convinces you that things that have absolutely nothing to do with you at all have everything to do with you. So you spend your whole day in life talking and thinking about things that have nothing to do with your space, your evolution, so. For me, it's a good thing to have people where it's like, yeah, that's good. Okay, that makes some sense. Let's look at, the political world and make an example, understand how that attaches to principles and why we should be moving away from this, and then move on, And so while everyone's world, well, not everyone, most people, their entire world was changed by 2020. Oh my God, 2020, this happened and that happened, my whole life. A lot of people just lost an entire year of their life. Worried about some bullshizzle that has nothing to do with where they need to go. And so for me, it was fun to do 2020 with the family here, because we all basically laughed at the whole thing the whole time from the very beginning. Like, that they're lying, and they're going to get a bunch of people killed, and they're going to cure you before they isolate it. Don't wear your face diaper. Stop being stupid.
Right.
And when this all comes to an end, the ancient text and the principles within will have told you that you wasted all of your time on
knowledge is power, and power protects you. Knowledge is power.
They just want to rob your life. That's why they're there. They don't want you focused on anything that matters. And so they created television to create an artificial reality to keep you focused on things that don't matter and buying things that you don't need, that makes their world and their power increase.
Yeah, but I think it's like, because we don't really understand energies, and stuff like that. And I really do. I feel like they feed off our energy. Definitely. It has really nothing to do with money. It has really nothing to do with power. I mean, it does to a certain extent, but it's just like almost like a draining of energy, just constant feeding of energy, like a beast or like a evil entity or whatever you want to call it.
You look at the Rothschilds, and they're worth 500 trillion. That is vampirism right there.
Yes.
They are vampires.
They've literally sucked the blood, like the life force, out of billions of people who are living their world and their wet dream. That's really what it is. Like, nations don't exist. It's just corporations and industry, and they're making a whole lot of money because they're debt vampires, right? They're energy vampires. They literally suck your life force, and them and their kids are living the dream. They literally own a planet. Some people don't even own a car, and they own a freaking planet.
They don't own the planet. We've let them own it. Because if we took our power back, they couldn't own anything. You can't own a planet. You can't. Sorry, but that pisses me off.
I agree with you.
You can't own a planet.
No.
We
Spot on.
Right.
Yeah.
It's our Garden of Eden, but collectively, the majority have come together and saying, we don't want this. You can take care of the planet better than us. You can tell us how to lead our lives better than we can.
Right.
So we consent to this model you created called economics and GDP.
Yeah.
So you go ahead and take our world, and we're going to pretend that it doesn't belong to us. And I feel
And again,
that's exactly what it is. It's not their planet.
yeah.
We're literally giving it to them, and they're burning the hell out of it and destroying it, and we're fine with that.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, and they did it very smart, because they made the 7 billion people dependent on them. I mean,
we're stuck in the freaking matrix, and I really want to escape, and I need help.
You know.
Yes, I do. I want to get out of here.
It's all from within. Stop it. Hush. It's all from within.
You will.
You can dig inside
You
yourself.
will. You will.
And pull yourself up. You've already started. You just don't know it.
Yeah.
No, I know I already started, but come on, this taking
step by step.
It's just not time then. You're supposed you're still learning that you waking up in your pod and like you still got goo and poo and all that liquid around you like
it's okra goo.
I'm gonna be here. Right? All that okra surrounding you and little floating brown things.
Right.
Disgusting.
Yeah.
And they feed them from the pods. And you're just waiting to get flushed down the toilet. And I think that's where we are as a species, is we got to go ahead and get flushed, and we end up down in the tubes, and and Morpheus will come and pull us out. So I hear you, but we're not ready. We're still sitting up in our pod, and we're like throwing like little brown dry things and hitting the pod next to hey, wake up, it's time to go. Gotta get out of here. It stinks up here,
Come on, let's go.
Like, wake up. Time to go. Here's the ancient text. It says we got to wake up. We're not supposed to be doing this. We're not supposed to be batteries for the Rothschilds. Wake us up.
Yeah. If they don't listen to us, Saturn is going to come and wake them the fuck up and say, your time is up. You didn't learn this. Go to the back of the class.
Go back to start.
Yeah.
Go back to start.
Worse than that, he eats people.
And not in the good way.
Not in a good way.
Yeah. Yeah. It's necessary. That energy is necessary. The dark wouldn't be here if we didn't have an imbalance in our consciousness. That's why they're here. Because we need them to I'm talking about collectively, the human mind here, whatever that is. We have a problem with accepting consequence and responsibility.
Because everything is your fault, Jonathan.
Yes.
It's your fault.
Yes.
It's your Jonathan.
And Beaufont will meme about it later on tonight, Gerard, and make fun of both of us.
And you moved my cheese. You stole my stickers, and I want them.
I'm gonna next time I have lunch with him, I'm gonna give him a sticker.
Beaufont needs a bunch.
It's so nice you can have lunch with them.
I know.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. We have a good time every time.
Yeah.
You need to take him a few stickers and some buttons and some flair and he needs all of that stuff.
Yeah, and we're gonna plan some uncomfortable pictures in downtown La Mesa for memeing purposes.
Yeah, oh my God, it's gonna be a face apps.
It's an inside joke between Beaufont, Susan, and me. So anyway.
So like I said, I was listening to Emerald Tablets before this, but and it says that the ultimate law of the universe is balance, right? So we don't have to defeat the dark, we just have to put it back in balance, because you can't have light, you know what I mean? Like if you have all light, you're, like I always say, you're not gonna be able to see it. It's all dark, you can't see. You have to have contrast.
Yes.
So we don't have to do it. We just hit the
what the lesson that the dark is working on right now. The dark is trying to kill the light.
Right.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
No. And you can't kill the light.
And their whole plan is folly. It's illusion from beginning to end.
Yeah.
They are trying to do something that the one mind did not agree on.
No,
you know.
Yeah. But they want to destroy the evolution. They want to destroy actually life, but you can't destroy life, and they don't get it. I mean,
they don't. They don't, Christine. They don't get it.
They don't.
And that's what they're trying to work through. And I think that every cycle, just like us, a few of them get it, and the rest of them repeat it.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all see that racist thing?
They get it, and then they can move on to something else at last. My God.
Y'all see that racist thing that Brett just posted? Opposites define each other. She's trying to say that white lives matter and black lives matter. Define each other. That's a great example, actually, right? That the left and the right define each other.
Right.
Yes.
Exactly.
That the Russians and the Americans define each other. That the Chinese and the Americans define each other.
It's Gerard. It's the binary, finite human consciousness that sees things in terms of opposites or pairs, like up and down, hot, cold. Could you know what hot was without experiencing cold?
Mm-hmm.
And the elites know this. I hate using the term elites. Ty is right. We should call them.
I know. I hate that too.
Yeah. The cabal certainly knows this and uses it against us because they know human nature. They have studied human nature because they are predators.
Yeah, they did.
And they study, and every predator studies their prey to learn its weaknesses.
See,
we need to start looking at our own weaknesses because that is how we are controlled.
Mm-hmm.
Personally and collectively.
We can't get rid of the
God and the devil because they meet together in a council. They're all
right.
They all work together.
But the devil is matter, and the God is the spirituality, and spirituality actually creates matter because we can manifest it. But if we think we are matter, we are dead because matter cannot create spirituality.
Right.
Yeah.
So we have to be aware of it. Mm-hmm. And that is what what the dark energy wants you to believe, that you're just matter. You have no power. You have nothing.
Mm-hmm.
You have nothing.
Right.
And
right. Like, this is just it. Your 70 years is just it. And what kind of, I wouldn't want to live a life like that.
Right.
With no hope, with nothing being, because like to me, like I said, like, I don't know, it's just more real. Like those feelings and those things that happen that you feel, but you can't see, that's way more real than like something that like a new shirt or you know, a gold ring, like
a sticker.
Yeah. Those moments, those experiences,
a merit badge.
They're way more real than any sticker you could ever have.
Right.
I like Harsh's analogies, like a battery in terms of us driving forward. The light and the dark, right? You know, in terms of positive and negative. A battery doesn't have energy. It doesn't work unless you have a positive and a negative. You don't have any power. Nothing goes in there. Your car doesn't work. Your little sticker, your remote control, your cars, none of that works unless you got that balance.
Yeah.
Right.
Balance.
That's a great example.
Yeah. Yeah, I think like there is something like God wanted to create universe and the image of himself to see himself. Otherwise, it's just light. And then he wants and they need each other. It's like the matter and the spirituality need each other. I mean, positive way of seeing. The so-called darkness. But thing is, if we only stay in one side, we're in imbalance.
Right.
Yes.
So.
And then like in the Dark Crystal, the Great Conjunction, you know, there's been 1,000 years of wasteland. That's where we're at right now. Are we going to are we going to just let the Skeksis live forever? Fuck no. No. That movie is just so brilliant. Really good. Really good. Yeah. And the I guess the Netflix series was really good too. People have told me that it was very good too.
My son cries all the time. He's always like, "We're not making part 2, season 2." Dark Crystal. The one, yeah. He's like, "Can we write them? Can we?" I'm like, "No." I'm sorry. Just got a little disappointment.
Did you watch it? Was it good?
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
It wasn't as good as the movie, of course, but it was good.
You guys should watch the show called Into the Dark. I'm telling everybody.
But that's on Netflix. I don't have
Netflix. Yeah, I don't either.
It is so. I mean, there are so many great examples of so many things. It's about a blind woman who lives in the city.
I'm gonna look for it.
It's happy. It's sad. It's dark. It's just examples of everything. But I love it. It's like I love that. I like that show for a lot of reasons. But one of the reasons I like it is because it's a good reminder to me. Like the who's the drunk superhero? I guess there are a lot of them now. They shoot crack, meth, everything now. But the first one,
right?
Will Smith was what was the name of it? Hancock. There you go. Right, where because we had this concept, and we were given this thing that there are good people and bad people.
Yeah.
There's good and there's bad, and I love the new stories being told that are showing there is no good and bad. Mm-hmm. There are just some days you do some good in this situation, do some bad in this. This is neutral. That's that. And that's kind of what she is. Like, she's a woman who struggles with being blind. Like, she lived and grew up in a time where, we are just a very apathetic society. We really, in masses, not individually, but in masses, we don't care. And so she's got all that with her, right? She's got all of that also negative energy. But with that, she's got like this beautiful spirit and this beautiful soul. And this young boy did something beautiful for her, and it changes her. And she meets these good people and bad people. And it's interesting, like, living her life from a blind person's perspective, or a blind woman's perspective, who has a lot of like real anger. And there's a lot of messages in there that, people I think would, not resonate with. Like, one concept was crazy. Like, she's, I don't say she's like an info, but to a degree, yes. Mm-hmm. Like, she literally meets someone at a bar almost every night and just takes them home and just screws them, no protection, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. But the reason why one person exposed it was that, he said, well, do you do that because in sex, everyone's got their eyes closed, the lights are off. You feel like an equal in the dark. And like exploring that. And it never even occurred to me that there's so many little hidden messages in this show. It's called Into the Dark. But
how can she know that she's blind? How can she know that she's blind? She cannot know it.
I think it has more to this.
How can she know that in sex people have their eyes closed? She can't know that because she's blind.
And she don't know if they turn the lights off or not.
A lot of this is true, but she takes them back to her apartment, so she knows, maybe. But but there's
I'm just laughing.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much to the, and then, and it takes me into another direction. Like, how do we tune into the pineal gland? I don't know if we talked about it last week. I was processing this one day last week that people who have mental challenges or blindness, they can't hear or whatever, they lean on other
senses.
Senses, right?
Yeah.
Another sensing of another, the 200 senses that the Egyptians say that we have that we just haven't used in a long time.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to really apply to that show. I don't want to spend time on that. But it's interesting. Like, and so I find interest in that show like I do in the modern world, right? These are just examples of what we should and should not do. These are dangerous and non-dangerous things. This is heading us to evolution. This is holding us back. And I think to a degree, we're supposed to observe nature and observe the whole political, spectrum as well, and observe the stories, read the books, and like all of these things are probably ways we're observing not just nature, but human nature. And we see ourselves in that, and we learn how to modify our own behaviors and move forward through what we see in other people and stories and books and movies. All right.
Sorry.
Well, I think we pushed on pretty hard.
Very thoughtful, yeah.
I like it to be organic, and I'm kind of feeling like people are starting to wind down. It's the weekend, Friday night.
Yeah.
So we all got to go.
Yeah.
Just got paid. Got to go to the party, go to the club and stuff.
Yeah.
Club? Me, I'm going to the bookstore. I'll see y'all later.
No, I go outside by myself, start a fire. Yeah, but whatever.
There is some clubs as well. The clubs are dead.
Yeah, the clubs are dead.
If I really focus, the gods are there, so I'm good. Not by myself. Get distracted. It's a shit show.
Feel like you're missing. You're not missing anything. Going out and partying and going to clubs and
we all need
politics.
to play. We all need to play to have time where we, devote to just releasing stress. I think,
Yeah.
Just
and
just enjoy yourself.
I super quarantined myself for the last 4 years. I just started going back out into the world.
And then you get a lockdown.
Like, you ain't ready.
The joke from the universe, she's playing with you. God is laughing. Okay, she's getting now extrovert. Now, lockdown.
I'm surprised that you it's only been 4 years for you. For me, this has been about a decade. I've been avoiding the monkeys for a long time, and I don't ever want to go back out there. Like I avoid society in my own way. Kind of like live under a rock, and I have like a game trail. I have certain places I go for certain things. I vary off the trail, but usually when I vary off my game trail, it's usually a place where nobody's at. Like, I know that I'm either not born in the right time or the right place, or I'm not supposed to be resonating with the vast majority of people who tend to live in the areas that I'm at. And I avoid it. Mm-hmm. I spend most of my time probably to myself because it's hard to reflect on myself if I'm kind of like going along with what everybody's doing and I'm focused on what they're focused on. And it's just weird for me. It's like when you meet somebody new, what do they want to talk about?
That's very different.
What's on the news? What's happening in the world? All the things that I feel have nothing to do with me.
No.
And so,
I have my people where I can go and relate to, but very, very few. It's like, and like with you, we can discuss almost everything, but with some people I can discuss this, and with some I can't. So I really, it's a little bit scattered over different kind of people, but.
Like I said, because I know how it sounds. I know how, because I used to be a brainwashed person, so I know how crazy all this shit is.
We all are, I think.
So I'm just like,
those days, yeah.
And it reminds me of Alan Watts, the Fool, and how it's really not the Fool because they're actually kind of in the background watching the whole play. And able to laugh about it, and that's how I kind of take on. You know what I mean? Like whatever. I'm kind of spreading truth, but I'm doing it in a crazy way, and they think I'm crazy and laugh, and it's like a joke, but I'm serious, and you know what I mean? So it's kind of going in, and if it does something, it does something, and if it don't, it don't. But at least I still was me.
Yeah. And it's now more clear. People who are aware, the separation is getting bigger. That's what I feel.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like before. It was more okay. She's alternative. She thinks a little bit different, but it's okay. But now it's so much separated. You cannot almost go with the normal monkeys. Whatever. What is
the normal monkey. So what are we on levels? Like some are lemurs, some are chimps, some are gorillas. We're all in a little.
Jeez, wow.
Yeah.
Planet of the Apes. You can go on with that. You got the orangutans, you got the soldiers, you got, it's Planet of the Apes. And as much as we want to get away from that, that movie it was such a great parody of
I like that.
human existence.
Yes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, all right.
Yeah.
Folks,
they don't make movies like that anymore, do they?
No.
No. Now it's
movies that invite you to think. Wow, what a concept!
Yeah,
I mean, now thinking is illegal now.
Right. It is. It will be.
Literally,
it will be.
Yeah.
I know.
Thinking is illegal.
I mean, that's what the whole. That's what Fahrenheit 451 is really about.
Yes.
It's the illegalization of thought.
Yes.
Of real thought.
That's why they want to get us in the pot. So no more breathing, no more thinking, and you sit there.
Yeah. The fact that we still, again with the bullshit, but the fact that we're still wearing masks means that most people do not think.
No.
Yeah. That's
they do not think. People with them on in their cars. That is someone that is clinically brain dead.
Yes.
They're straight lining.
Yeah.
In their higher consciousness.
They're flatlining.
Yes, they're nothing. There's no one there.
No, they're all by themselves in their own car.
Well, they're all by themselves in their own mind.
Yes.
Yeah.
They are afraid. That's why they're afraid.
Yeah.
Because they think
it's
from everyone.
Right. It's that intellectual lazy part, right?
Yeah.
They want the television to tell them what to do, where to go, how to think, how to get there, and they don't. It takes too much energy to actually do, any thinking. And I think the other danger of thinking is it means that you have to change your behavior.
Yeah.
And you have to be responsible, and people don't want that. People want to be told, what to do. They you have the monkeys who want to be free and fight on the planet, but you also have the monkeys who want to be in the cage. They want to be in the zoo. Life is easier if you tell them what to do. You feed them 3 times a day. You tell them what jobs to have, and they get paid for it. And it's easier. So let's get some last words because I'm gonna have to get going. It's slavery. I've got a little bit of a crazy thing happening. I'm making some essential oils, and I don't want to blow myself up. So I'm gonna have to go here. The pump shut down, so it's getting too hot. Next thing you see is juice.
All right. Well, if I order calendula, can you make me calendula oil? I don't know how to make oil.
Yeah, I can make oil from anything. Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm loving this. This is crazy. I'm making oil out of everything. If I don't die, because if this blows up, it's not gonna work. So I might have to get and deal with this with the pump shutdown. Anyway, last words.
Don't be afraid of the dark.
Yeah.
Yes.
Don't be afraid.
Don't be afraid.
Matter and spirituality should be in harmony. Both.
Don't be afraid of the dark.
If we let our fear go individually,
love comes up.
Then we are in for a hell of a ride.
Yeah. Love is letting fear go. That's a book. It's a very good book. Love is
the universe. The universe always responds ordinately to a decision, a real decision on our part. If we choose to make a conscious act to change, to grow, the universe will run to us with open arms. Very much so.
Letting go fear and living.
Yeah.
So we'll end on Lenny Kravitz, "Let Love Rule."
Nice.
That's my favorite song. But anyway, we're out of here. Y'all say goodbye. This is Gerard.
Good night, beautiful humans.
Bye, everything.
Bye, monkeys. We all
Okay, have a nice weekend.
Break the chains that bind me, 'cause I wanna break the chains that bind you. Do you wanna set the world free, have perfect harmony? time for that. Do you want a free, boom, 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 free the people? Do you want a free, boom, 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 free the people from the bottom to the top? Make modern slavery stop. Do you want to let go of the prisoners? See everyone happy. We can have this and more if we open up the doors. Well, what do you think about that? Do you want a free, boom, boom, free the people? Do you want a free, boom, 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 free the people and Mother Nature too? Close down all the zoos. Do you want a boom, 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 boom? Do you want a boom, 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 boom? Do you want a free,